Welcome to the Born on This Day ASMR series. We are reading from the secret language. Today is February 14th, the day of the cool QUIP. We are reading from the secret language of birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Joost. This book is a work of personology. A day is a year, is a lifetime, is an age. Personology combines history, psychology, numerology, tarot, and astrology to form a personality guide for each person based on their day of birth. I plan to make an episode for each day of the year following the grand life cycle. I meant to start on January 1st, and here we are in the middle of February, but we're going to keep going. If today is your birthday, happy birthday. It's Frederick Douglass's birthday too. You should read his books. The quick-witted individuals born on February 14th are usually masters of the short, ironic, and sometimes devastating comment. They have what it takes to make people laugh, but also the capacity to make them think. Abbreviators. They take what others might need an hour to say and roll it into an attractive little bon mot. One more, and simply come across it with it for all to hear. Lovers of jokes and stories, tellers of sometimes tall tales, and not above practical joking, February 14th people bring their witty outlook to bear on every aspect of life around them. None of this is meant to suggest that February 14th people are somehow superficial. Humor, eloquence, and acerbic comments are but a means of expression. It is true that those born on this day do not specialize in taking themselves or life in general too seriously, but this in no way reflects on their work. It is more indicative of a philosophical outlook. Less highly evolved individuals born on this day can be overwhelmingly negative in their approach to life, sometimes behaving in a destructive or power-seeking manner. They can make the mistake of placing themselves above human laws and social rules, believing that they are somehow exempted from karma and the retribution of fate, bad energy, or the like. Characteristically, they are caught unawares when a heavy blow falls. All February 14th people must beware of their irony turning to sarcasm, of adopting a mocking or derisive tone. Such an attitude only arouses opposition. Although others might find such dark humor funny for a time, it can eventually wear thin. Of course, everyone likes a good laugh, but the ultimate concern may be the object of the laughter. Those February 14th people capable of joking about themselves are far more sensitive to this issue, but here as well, they must not allow self-deprecation to go too far. Speed of thought and mental concentration are pronounced in February 14th people. Their ability to focus on tasks in the middle of an uproar is quite remarkable. Yet those born on this day have a decidedly physical side as well. They enjoy all sorts of sensuous activities which allow their brains a well-needed rest. Not to have to talk can be a great luxury for these verbal people. Consequently, they may choose to spend their free time with those less intellectually oriented. Their friends are often earthy people who, though intelligent, know how to relax and have fun. February 14th people must control their tendency to keep others on the defensive. Moreover, if they can apply some of their talent for critical insight to themselves, they will benefit greatly. Allowing themselves time alone, away from their busy involvement with their surroundings, is key. In their weakness, those born on February 14th can be over-aggressive, cutting, and even hurtful. In their strength, those born on this day can be witty, facile, and very entertaining. Numbers and planets. Those born on the 14th day of the month are ruled by the number 5. 1 plus 4 equals 5. 14 is 1 plus 4. And by the speedy planet Mercury. The number 5 grants strongly developed mental abilities to February 14th people, which are reinforced by the influence of Uranus, ruler of Aquarius. For those February 14th people who suffer setbacks, it is fortunate that the number 5 bestows a resilient character, which recovers quickly from the hard knocks of life. The planets. Astrology traditionally speaks of 10 principal heavenly bodies which can be viewed from the Earth. The 2 luminaries, Sun and Moon, 3 inner planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and 5 outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. All of these, including Sun and Moon, are called planets, and each represents a different facet of the human personality. The names of the planets largely derive from classical Greek and Roman mythology, and their symbolism from the gods and goddesses which they represent. Every planet serves as an astrological indicator as well as a heavenly body. In this book, the rulership of both astrological signs and numbers by planets gives important clues to the personality of those born on each day. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius in the number 4. This planet was discovered around the time of the French Revolution, and so symbolizes strongly individualistic and at times rebellious energies. The movements of the planet Uranus are erratic, and the quality of not doing things in a straight-line fashion and releasing spontaneous and impulsive energies are characteristic of Uranian people. The 84-year solar orbit of Uranus is taken in this book to be the ideal lifespan of humans in the Aquarian age. Mercury. Mercury is the small, speedy planet closest to the Sun, named for the winged messenger of the gods in Greek and Roman mythology. Mercury rules the signs Gemini and Virgo, as well as the number 5, and symbolizes quickness of thought and communication. Those influenced by Mercury tend to bring vivacity, and impulse to endeavors in which they are involved. Attention to detail, a love of games and puzzles, and an ability to recuperate quickly are all associated with this planet. Hermes is the Greek name for Mercury, and I would like to share some stories about Hermes. Our selections come again from Edith Hamilton and Bernard Ebslin. Hermes, Mercury. Zeus was his father, and Maya, daughter of Atlas, his mother. Because of a very popular statue, his appearance is far more familiar to us than that of any other god. He was graceful and swift of motion. On his feet were winged sandals. Wings were on his low-crowned hat, too, and on his magic wand, the caduceus. He was Zeus's messenger, who flies as fleet as thought to do his bidding. Of all the gods, he was the shrewdest and most cunning. In fact, he was the master thief, who started upon his career before he was a day old. The babe born at the break of day, and ere the night fell, he had stolen away Apollo's herds. Zeus made him give them back, and he won Apollo's forgiveness by presenting Apollo with the lyre which he had just invented. making it out of tortoise shell. Perhaps just a tortoise's shell. Perhaps there was some connection between that very early story of him and the fact that he was god of commerce and the market, protector of traders. In odd contrast to this idea, he was also the solemn guide of the dead, the divine herald who led the souls down to their last home. He appears often in the tales of mythology, more often than any other god. Young gods were often precocious, but no one so much as Hermes, Mercury, who 5 minutes after his birth snuck out of his crib and went searching for adventure. He toddled swiftly down the slope of Mount Silene until he came to a meadow where he saw a herd of beautiful white cows grazing. He saw no cowherd and decided to steal them. A tree full of crows began to seethe and whistle. They belonged to Apollo, to Apollo. But he paid them no heed. He plaited grass into shoes for the cows and fitted them over their hooves and drove them away silently. When Apollo returned, he was furious to see his cows gone, and even more furious when he searched for tracks and found none. Only odd sweeping marks on the ground. The crows chattered, "A baby stole them. Your brother, your brother." But this made no sense to Apollo. Besides, he did not trust crows. He did not know where to begin looking. He searched far and wide, but could find no clue. Then one morning, he passed a cave. He had passed 100 times before, but this time he heard strange, beautiful sounds coming out of it and from it. Sounds unlike anything he had ever heard before. And he looked inside. There, drowsing by the fire, was a tall, lovely titaness named Maya, whom he had seen before in the garden on Olympus. Sitting in her lap was a little baby boy doing something to a large tortoise shell, from which the strange sounds seemed to be coming. "Good day, cousin," said Apollo. "Are you to be congratulated on a new son?" "Hail, bright Phoebus," said Maya. "May I have the honor of presenting your half-brother, young Hermes?" "Half-brother, eh? Well, that's an honor. Without being a distinction, what's that he's playing with?" "He makes his own toys," said Maya proudly. "He's so clever you can't imagine. He made this out of an old shell that he strung with cow gut, and from it he draws the most ravishing sounds. Listen. Cow gut. May I ask what cow he persuaded to contribute her vital chords for his pastime?" I do not understand your question, cousin." "Understand this, cousin. I have had a herd of cows stolen recently. The crows told me they had been taken." "Taken by some baby, my brother. But I didn't believe them. I seem to owe them an apology." "What?" cried Maya. "Are you accusing the innocent babe of being a cattle thief? For shame." "Mother, if you don't mind," said a clear little voice, "perhaps you'd better let me handle this." The baby stood on his mother's knee and bowed to Apollo. "I did take your cows, brother, but I didn't know they were yours. How could I have? They are quite safe, except for one. Wishing to begin my life with an act of piety, I sacrificed her to the 12 gods." "12 gods?" said Apollo haughtily. "I am acquainted with but 11. "Yes, sir," said Hermes, "but I have the honor to be the 12th. Above all things, I wish your goodwill, fair brother. So in return for this cow, allow me to make you a present, this instrument. I call it a lyre. I'll be glad to teach you to play." Apollo was enchanted with the trade. He stayed in the cave all that afternoon practicing his scales. As he was strumming his new toy, he noticed Hermes cutting reeds, which the child swiftly tied together, notched in a certain way, then put to his lips, and began to make other sounds, even more beautiful than the lyre could produce. "What's that?" cried Apollo. "What do you call that? I want that too." "I don't need any more cows," said Hermes. "I must have it. What else of mine do you wish?" "Your golden staff." "But this is my herdsman's staff. Do you not know that I am the god of herdsmen, and that this is the rod of authority?" "A minor office," said Hermes, "unworthy of the Lord of the Sun. Perhaps you would allow me to take over the chore. Give me your golden staff, and I will give you these pipes." Agreed. But since pipes and lyre together will make you god of music, I must have something to boot. Teach me augury. "You drive a hard bargain for a nursling," said Apollo. "I think you belong on Olympus, brother. This cave will not long offer scope for your talents." "Oh yes, take me there," cried Hermes. "I am eager to meet Father Zeus." So Apollo took Hermes, Mercury, to Olympus, and introduced him to his father, Zeus. Zeus was intrigued by the wit and impudence of the child. He hid him away from Hera and spent hours conversing with him. "You say you wish to enter the Pantheon," said Zeus. "But really, all the realms and powers seem to have been parceled out." "Father, I am of modest nature," said Hermes. "I require no vast dignities, only a chance to be useful, to serve you, and to dwell in your benign and potent presence. Let me be your herald. Let me carry your tidings. You will find me quick and resourceful, and what I can't remember, I will make up. And I guarantee your subjects will get the message." "Very well," said Zeus. "I will give you a trial." So Hermes became the messenger god, and accomplished his duties with such swiftness, ingenuity, and cheerfulness that he became a favorite of his father, who soon rewarded him with other posts. Hermes became patron of liars and thieves and gamblers, god of commerce, framer of treaties, and guardian of travelers. Hades became his client too, and called upon him to usher the newly dead from Earth to Tartarus. He kept a workshop on Olympus, and there invented the alphabet, astronomy, and the scales, also playing cards and card games. He carried Apollo's golden staff decorated with white ribbons, wore a pot-shaped hat, and winged sandals which carried him through the air more swiftly than any bird could fly. It was he who gave Zeus the idea of disguising himself and mingling with mortals when bored with Olympus. He joined his father in this, and they had many adventures together, which will be told in their place. Tarot. The 14th card of the major arcana is Temperance. The figure shown is a guardian angel who protects us and keeps us on an even keel. Such a figure emphasizes the need for balance and moderation in the lives of February 14th people. Positively seen, Temperance modifies passions in order to allow for new truths to be learned and incorporated into one's life. The Temperance card urges February 14th people to establish and maintain their own ethical code and resist both seductive temptations and false behavior for the sake of personal gain. The major arcana. Far more significant are the 22 cards known as the Major Arcana, which cannot be associated with the modern playing card deck. They are, in all probability, a concentrated version of Hermetic philosophy as later interpreted in the Kabbalah, Alchemy, magic, and astrology. They comprise the psychological study of man and his relationship to the world of the spirit and to the physical world. Their symbolism is a type of shorthand for metaphysics and mysticism. Here are truths of so subtle and divine in order that to express them boldly in human language would be a sacrilege. Only esoteric symbolism can reveal them to the inner spirit of the seeker. The major arcana are numbered from 0 to 21, each bearing a title which to some degree describes the card. Each card represents a distinct principle, law, power, or element in nature. The designs on the cards also illuminate the life of man, his joys and sorrows, hopes and despairs. They further indicate his search for the wisdom which enables him to control his passions and help in his transition to higher spheres, where he enters into things of the spirit. Any book on the occult will be more readily comprehended. Any of these 22 cards of the major arcana can be the foundation for a great deal of meditation and inner enlightenment. In addition to this, be convinced that there is some power present when the cards are read that directs their distribution. An extra physical power now demonstrated in our universities as psychokinetic effect cooperates with the unconscious muscular activities of the person using the deck and tends to affect the cards as they are shuffled and cut so that when dealt they fall into positions that have significance in relation to the subject to the reading. The Fool, card 0, can, in a sense, be compared to the Joker in the modern deck of cards, in that it has no assigned place in the deck but stands more or less alone. Some writers on the tarot, in order to carry out their own interpretation, place the Fool between the 20th and 21st cards, but there is no concrete evidence that this card belongs in that position, or for that matter, as the first card of the major arcana. Rather, this is a separate card, a third part of the deck, the sum total of all. The Fool is the sum total of all. The keys. Temperance. Today's tarot reading. The word temperance in this card refers to tempering, modification, rather than to its more familiar meaning. It shows a winged angel with the sign of the sun on his forehead. A square and triangle within it on his breast are the sign of the sacred book of the tarot. The angel pours the essences of life from chalice to chalice. One foot is upon the earth and the other upon the waters. A crown is dimly seen in the light, shining above the path as it climbs toward the heights of the horizon. The twin peaks on either side of the path are wisdom and understanding. This is the union of the male and female principle. It is spirit entering matter and the reaction of spirit upon matter. The stream is the stuff of mind, betokening the flowing of the past through the present into the future. Divinatory meaning of temperance. Good management, adaptation, coordination, modification. The use of successful combinations. The individualization of existence. Reverse. Possibility of unfortunate combinations. Competing interests in business or personal affairs. Tarot cards have been used for centuries to predict the future, shed light on the past, and reveal the mysterious patterns of character and destiny. Gaze into the flames. What do you see? Health. Although they often convey a loose, relaxed image in their professional lives, February 14th people are nonetheless vulnerable to stress. For this reason, they have to learn to sit on the sidelines more and relax, rather than so often monopolizing the group's attention. Keeping a distance from disturbances and unneeded stimulation, and learning to calm themselves internally are the key. Those born on February 14th must also beware of internalizing and repressing their more aggressive instincts, since this can ultimately spell serious physical problems, and most often with their internal abdominal organs, cardiovascular or endocrine systems. Particularly for February 14th people, drugs, including tobacco and alcohol, should be avoided, or at the very least restricted. A balanced, well-rounded diet and moderate to vigorous physical exercise are both recommended. Advice: direct your energy into positive endeavors. Be sensitive to what others are feeling and weigh your words before speaking. Slow down a bit. Silence often says more than speech. But silence never says silence. I know that. Okay. Meditation. Verbal cuts do not heal as quickly as those made with a knife. Ooh, burn. But that's the thing, because, I was thinking about, it reminds me of the first cut is the deepest, it's not a bad song, but it gets overplayed. It's sort of like, if the first cut is the deepest, it sounds more like you're making every cut to be the first cut, and you're not really learning anything. At least in the way that the tone of the covers, of all the covers of that song are implying. So yes, maybe you have steel skin, but not a steel mind. Anyway, we're just having fun here. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for watching, listening, relaxing, staying awake, falling asleep. Have a nice evening, day, night, tomorrow. Happy birthday, happy Valentine's, whatever.